Good day, everyone. I am your teacher, Orcel, and now I am here in front of you. I'm going to discuss about the mole concept, and this mole concept is part of the lesson Module 4 of Grade 9 and second quarter, and this is Week 7. Before I continue, I would like to ask my students, my dear students of Kanduma National High School of grade 9 level, to please write down the first 3 letters of your family name as a form of your attendance. Let's begin. Now, the learning competency for this module is for the students to use the mole concept to express the mass of substance. The learning objectives are: the students will be able to describe what a mole is, able to determine 2 of these 3 quantities: mass, the number of moles, and the number of particles. Be able to calculate the molar mass, the molecular mass, and the formula mass. Recognize the applications of mole concept in everyday life. Before we continue, let's have a review. Remember, our previous lessons was about the carbon compounds. There are many different organic compounds, and they differ because of their functional groups. There are many organic compounds like alcohol, aldehyde, ketones, carboxylic acid. We also have ester and ether. Then we also have amine and amide, and halide. Some of these organic compounds belong to hydroxyl group, carboxyl group, carbonyl group, and some contains nitrogen atom, and some has halogens. In your SLK, you're going to find on page 3 the introduction. This introduction will tell us, or will tell you, all about the topic for this week. Don't forget to answer on pages 4 and 5 the pre-assessment. You will find on page 6 beginning drill. You answer this one, as this will be about old concepts that you may have known or understood, examples of which are ream, dozen, and pair. Let's use analogy to describe what one mole is. Now, for as you have known, a dozen means there are 12 pieces of objects, or a dozen of roses would mean there are 12 roses. And if you say a dozen of donuts, it means there are 12 pieces of donuts. 1 dozen of egg, then it means 12 pieces of eggs, right? Now, what is mole? Then actually mole is just like the word dozen. However, dozen means 12 pieces, but for mole it means 6.02 times 10 to the 23 particles. Now, if a substance has 6.02 times 10 to the 23 particles in it, then it means it is equivalent to 1 mole. Now, since the Avogadro's number, which is 6.02 times 10 to the 23 particles for every mole, is too many. You cannot count them, right? It's uncountable, or you cannot count them one by one. If you want these number of particles, you cannot count 6.02 times 10 to the 23 particles. So what we have to know is the molar mass, okay? Mole with having 6.02 times 10 to the 23 particles has a certain mass. Now, we call that mass as the molar mass. Now, the molar mass varies from one substance to another, meaning to say 1 dozen of egg will have a different mass from 1 dozen of donuts, or 1 dozen of pencil has a different mass with 1 dozen of roses. Okay? Now, same as the mole. Now, the mass of 1 mole of carbon would be different from the mass of 1 mole of oxygen. Why? Because the atoms have different atomic mass. How to get the molar mass of sodium chloride or NaCl. How to get the molar mass of vitamin C. How many moles are present in 60.05 grams of carbon? First, we have to identify the given. Then identify what is asked in the problem. To solve, you need to get the molar mass of carbon. Why? Because based on the stoichiometric conversion, you need to divide mass over molar mass. To solve, we still need the molar mass. To be able to get the mass given the number of moles, we use the stoichiometric conversion, wherein mass is equal to number of moles times the molar mass. In this problem, you are given the number of moles and asked for the number of particles. Still, we are going to use the stoichiometric conversion. So what we do is multiply the number of moles with Avogadro's number in order to get the number of particles. In this problem, we are given the number of particles and we are to look for the number of moles. We do the same thing. We use the stoichiometric conversion wherein number of particles is divided by Avogadro's number in order to get the number of moles. In this problem, we need to find out what is the mass of carbon given the number of particles or atoms of carbon. In order to find out, we still need to use the stoichiometric conversion. But this time, we need to do two processes. First, we determine the number of moles by dividing the number of atoms over the Avogadro's number. And after we have obtained the number of moles, we multiply it with the molar mass in order to get the mass. In this problem, we need to find out the number of atoms given the mass of carbon. To find out, we need the use of stoichiometric conversion. And we still need to do two processes. First, we need to find out the number of moles. To do that, we use the formula mass divided by molar mass. Then we multiply the number of moles with Avogadro's number in order to get the number of particles. In your SLK, a text has been provided. Read and understand how mole concept is used in everyday life. Remember that the mole concept is used in making drugs or medicines. It's also used in fuel consumptions of engines and even in battery making. This is very common nowadays because our gadgets or devices need a lot of help from rechargeable batteries. With the help of the concept of mole, the makers of battery could be more careful in getting the right amount of ingredients so to avoid accidental fires. Now, these are the key words or key concepts that we had discussed for today. And we have mole, the molar mass, the molecular mass, the formula mass, and the Avogadro's number. Just like 1,000 is equal to 12 pieces, so as 1 mole is always equal to the Avogadro's number, or 6.02 times 10 to the 23 particles. And of course, the molecular mass and the formula mass of the substance will always depend upon the number of atoms of that particular substance and also with the atomic mass. Don't forget to answer. Let's sum it up on page 15 of your SLK and the post-assessment on page 16 to 17 of your SLK. And there are also other additional activities suggested in the SLK on page 18. Browse the videos and know more about the mole concept being used in our everyday lives. And that is it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you learned something. That is the end of our lesson for week 7 of module 4, second quarter for grade 9 science. And I hope you will not forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you and goodbye. God bless and have a happy day. Stay home, stay safe.